Hello, my name is Dale Dufay, and I'm going to do the audio on this video for Mary Hall. She made an incredible observation. Here is an example of, I'm not sure if this is a sunset or sunrise, but this is an example of the normal situation, and this is in Dover, Florida. But here's the real sun, what we believed obviously to be the real sun, that's 90 million miles away. Now, it's actually a pretty sunrise and pretty sunset. But the interesting thing is she puts this in through a video shop. This is from a webcam again in Dover, Florida, and she puts it in a video shop, and then she'll put it into a thermal setting, which we can go to right now. Uh, but here you can see the movement of the cloud. There's the sun, the real sunrise or sunset. Again, I'm not really sure. I suppose if we follow it forward, we can tell what it is. But here she puts it, takes the format through the video shop into the thermal setting. And of course, the dark red and the light reds are where the most thermal energy is, the infrared, if you will, where the heat source comes from our sun. But it clearly shows, the whole area lit up, and especially the hot, dark areas where the sun is. Right here is probably where it's setting. I can't tell if it's rising or set, if it's sunrise or sunset, but that's irrelevant at this point. What we're showing here is the thermal activity, which is very revealing. So this is basically what we should expect to see, right? I mean, this it makes so much sense. I mean, duh, the sun's hot. And when we come forward here, we'll see where the sun actually is in the center here. And as you can see that's cooler, but it looks like it's obviously setting. This is a sunset. Okay, so we got that determined. We could see the thermal energy, see the spikes coming down there off the reflection or glare of the camera. But we could see clearly that, well, the thermal energy, and again, the darker, the warmer, or the higher the infrared. So this is another example right here. Now this, I'm going to pause it here. This is in Montesi, Italy. And we could clearly see, what Mary calls airplane clouds. See how long that is? Obviously the jet engines will leave a condensation trail, but they dissipate very quickly. Like from our view of the airplane flying in the sky, the condensation trail should be no longer than 10 inches, maybe 12 inches from our view, not all the way across the sky like this one is. So that's when you realize that they're spraying aerosols up there. Now the reason they're doing it is to soup up the sky. To cover the sun for some reason. Well, what they claim is the geoengineers are claiming is they're trying to protect us from the sun, and they're trying to. And what they do and what they use up there in the aerosols when they soup up the sky is actually a reflective agents in it, like powdered aluminum and things like that reflect the sun's energy and infrared energy back into space. And in this video, she'll put this through, thermal setting on the video shop, and it's very interesting what you see. And you can see all the airplane clouds here, and a lot of these actually spread out and form clouds like this, actually. So basically, all of this is airplane clouds, or geoengineering, or what Mary and I like to call Bill Gates clouds. In fact, we used to call them Bill and Melinda clouds. And then the hazy blue sky we used to call Bill and Melinda skies. But now that Melinda's out of the picture, I guess this is just Bill Gates clouds. Or they see how they soup it up. They just soup up the whole area and kind of blind. Again, they think they're protecting us. The pilots in these jets that are leaving these clouds are oblivious to what they're doing. They think they're helping us, and maybe they are. Who knows? You know what I mean? There's something going on, and they're obviously with the Earth and the solar system. But look at all these airplane clouds. Isn't that incredible? All throughout. Boy, they really souped up this sky. Again, this is in Montesi, Italy, which is ironically in the same parallel as that Milan camera where we spotted what we believe to be an artificial sun. But this we believe to be the same artificial sun with the real one 90 million miles away, but they're obscuring that any evidence of that, and to where only the satellite artificial sun shows. So it's important to keep that. Okay, so here's the thermal. Do you see any red at all? Apparently that juicing up the sky and those airplane clouds are doing their job. They're reflecting all the infrared back into space. And it's amazing. Here's where the most heat and red should be, and here ironically it's the darkest blue, the coldest area, which would indicate that no doubt that this could be the artificial sun, because again it's in the same parallel as the one in Milan. And it's always important to remember that not everybody's going to see it, because these are only at satellite height, maybe a little beyond, but not much. So it's only going to be seen from a certain area. Again, if you were able to get to the beyond the peripheral of this artificial sun, and if they didn't soup up the sky that much, you'd be able to see two suns, the real one 90 million miles away and the artificial one. Sometimes you can get into the high skyscrapers, those ones in Dubai and whatnot. If you got up on the top, up above where they actually gets almost above where they soup up the sky, and you can see the two suns. Again, one's the real one and one's the artificial one. But look at how cold this is. There's not one hint of red anywhere, and it should be doing regardless of clouds or not. It should be showing some heat signatures, but there's no heat signatures whatsoever. So this was a really interesting catch. Plus the fact that it's not far from Milan, where we have captured what we believe to be or Mary captured what she believes to be, and I also believe to be an artificial sun that's up in a satellite. That's why they soup it up so much, so you can't see that it may be artificial. And it's obviously not producing any infrared heat. That infrared heat that that people feel on the ground is from the real sun. That's that's able to get to the ground easily without, because it's got to figure this is a pretty small, it's a huge satellite with huge reflector dishes, but it's still small in comparison to the real sun, obviously. So the infrared or the heat that the people feel on the ground from the sun is going to be felt from the real one. But obviously this artificial one isn't showing any signs of heat in the sky whatsoever. But again, we're not looking at the ground. Down here's the ground, so there is heat. But that's the only red there is, and there's some a little more here. But again, that's the ground and the heat that's being picked up from the real sun. Now the artificial one here is not hot at all, especially when they soup it up in front of it. I was just really impressed with this, this capture, this realization that here you look at a different parallel on the Earth, southern or mid. I think it's about midway in Florida, and you can clearly see that it's normal. It's what you'd expect, But this here in Montesi, Italy, is totally different. I mean, you could see the skies all souped up. You could see them, see how they lay the pattern just ahead as the sun travels, as the clouds move across the sun, or what we believe in this case, there's an artificial sun behind these artificial clouds. And it's quite apparent because, it's the infrared setting in that Videoshop app proves it. And it was interesting that she showed an ordinary, situation proving that the infrared portion of that Videoshop app actually works. And it picks up the infrared just fine here in Dover, Florida. But here in Montesi, Italy, where it's known that there's possibly an artificial sun. I mean, we've seen it in previous videos. It's undeniable. And this this totally proves it. I mean, you can see them swooping up the skies in in the distance, and they know where to lay it. But these geoengineers, you have to keep in mind, are very keen to what they're doing. They have many, many patents. You can go to the patent office and see hundreds of patents on these aerosols they're spraying. See, they can't really hide what they're doing when it comes to, if you dig deep enough, you can expose them. Now, the years ago, these geoengineers have annual conventions. And years ago, you were able to get into the conventions, basically kind of sneak in. And you can hear what these people are talking about, and it would blow your mind. And they talk about it as though they're like saviors of the world. But this is all being done without any congressional oversight. They're not asking us if they can spray aerosols up in the sky or anything. It's crazy. It's a topic that we don't like to talk about too much because there's nothing you can do about it. It's all going to be denied. But the evidence is right here. These are not condensation trails, my friend. I mean, these are aerosol trails. Sometimes you can see them spread across the entire sky and watch them over time as they move across the sky with the atmosphere, with the motion of real clouds, if there were real clouds. And you can actually see them spread apart. It's really amazing how far ahead, how advanced they've gotten on this. But yet, people just are totally oblivious to it. And again, those geoengineers, they think they're playing God. They think they're helping us, but they don't realize the potential, incredible danger going on here. Now, in the previous video, when we were looking at the Milan camera, where it was obviously an artificial sun with the aperture of the satellite being right in the center, you could actually see it rotating. But we were look at this look at this. I'm sorry, I'm trying to prevent myself from saying chemtrail because that's the bad word you can't say. Mary calls them airplane clouds. So do I. After she coined the phrase, I thought it was perfect. That's an airplane cloud. Look at how many hundreds of miles it goes. That is not condensation from a jet engine. Condensation from a jet engine dissipates almost instantly. It will leave a short trail, but it dissipates. And sometimes you'll see these airplane clouds, or the airplanes that produce clouds. You'll see them. It'll look like a normal condensation trail that dissipates, and then all of a sudden they'll spray and leave a spot like that. You see here, this one here apparently sprayed, stopped spraying, spray, stopped. So you could see them. And plus, I've always wanted. Not too long ago, I heard on the news that there's a shortage of pilots for the airline industry. Well, we can see why. They're all up here trying to save us. Isn't that nice of them? But I'm being facetious, of course. But that's that's the way. That's their mindset. So you gotta, in a sense, forgive them. Especially the pilots. They think they're helping us. But the thing is, it's very obvious here on that. What was it? The 45th parallel, where it went through Milan and whatnot. That there's an artificial sun being used. But the point I was trying to get at is that we were wondering what the heck, why, if this is an artificial sun and the one in Milan, one in the same, this was this satellite, why? Because we know the real sun's behind all this, 90 million miles away. Again, they could feel the heat still on the ground, but the light is coming from the artificial one. The big question is why? And it just occurred to me. I kind of felt, why I didn't think of it before. But Mary said that somebody had even made a comment about it. Is they're doing this to cover up something? Whether it's covering up the real sun's activity, or whether they're covering up what's going on around the sun, is the big question. Because it's very difficult to what exactly are they hiding up there? Again, the geoengineering part is to protect us from what? Who knows what the sun's doing? To be honest with you, but here in northwest or southwest Michigan, you look at we even have welders glass that we use to look at the sun, and it's not artificial, it's the real McCoy. So they're only deploy this thing when needed in certain areas. So what are they hiding? And is the big question, really. But this is amazing. I mean, look at that. Look at how souped up that sky is. It's just incredible, and you can see how they lay out the grid, the pattern, well ahead, and they also have, this was also laid, probably laid out before the sun even was setting. And this looks like it's setting in this case too. But look at that. It's just remarkable. Not one source of heat except on the buildings here in the ground. Of course, that's coming from the real McCoy. But up in the sky, we see no thermal activity whatsoever. So basically, what they're doing up there is working, whatever they're trying to do and why they're doing it. Again, you can't, you have to forgive the pilots. That's the way I look at it. They think they're helping us. But again, what are they hiding? Boy, I'd love to know. You talk to people in the Planet X community, and they'll say they're hiding. They're hiding just that, the solar system, the Planet X system, if you will. They don't want us to see that there's, huge planet-sized objects out there around our sun in our solar system. Of course, a lot of them are invisible to infrared, unless you have an infrared camera. You can't see them. But the thing is, they don't want anybody to know about that because, it'll defy everything we were taught about the universe. So again, plus they're helping us. There's actually a threefold reason to souping up the sky with aluminum and aerosols and things like that. One is to block the sun and reflect the heat back, as this infrared shows. And two is to cover things, hide things from us. And number three is that aluminum is a perfect conductor for communications and whatnot. So like today, we are looking up at the sky, and it's clear as a bell, and there's no airplane clouds, but it's got that general haze to it. We call that we used to call it the Bill and, well, I think it was just the Melinda Gates haze. But now that she's out of the picture, I imagine one of the reasons why she is because of the horrendous things her husband is doing. So we just looked up today and just noticed that it had that Bill Gates haze, blue. We call it Bill Gates blue now. In other words, a real pale, hazy sky. And it's not haze from humidity, because there's no humidity here right now. It's very comfortably cool, perfect 72 degrees, clear sky, but it's just not blue like it should be. But this blue is incredible, just showing just what they're doing is actually working. So again, thanks, Mary. This is incredible work that she does. And again, we're kind of on the fence with this artificial sun thing, but now it's starting to get on, with this stuff like this is proof that that's what's going on out there. It's crazy. So thank you for watching, and we'll talk at you later.